The final game on one of the best traditions here in America. The Miami Dolphins fly up to Green Bay to take on Jordan Love and the Packers on Thanksgiving night. My name is Tyler, here with my brother Ryan, and we're going to break down this Week 13 matchup between the Miami Dolphins and Green Bay Packers. But before we get into that, we do have a goal of getting to 6,000 subscribers by the end of the calendar year. So if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, leave a like, and a comment. Let us know who you think will win this game and why. Ryan, one of my favorite traditions, I think, in all sports is, and actually just in the country in general, it's just football on Thanksgiving. You're around all your family and everybody's just watching the game. And we got a great 12 o'clock game. We got a perfect game where you can eat all your food at the 3:30 game. And then we got, when you wake up from your turkey nap, we got a great game here at 8 o'clock Eastern time between these two teams. Miami Dolphins, it was kind of tough to watch them in the first half of the season, especially without Tua there. And you kind of realize, really, nothing against Tua. It really made me appreciate Tua, though, in running this offense, because it's like we all saw, like, you have all these neat gadget toys, you go and play with, and how cool and exciting this offense could be. But then you have someone like myself, like, trying to control them, and like you have no idea how you're doing. That's disrespectful to Tyler Huntley and Skylar Thompson, someone who's slightly better at football than me, trying to control it. No, but Tua, though, I think is a perfect, like, QB, or one of the better QBs for this offense, and the team has seen that success since he's come back. Even though they lost to Arizona in his first game back, this team has actually looked completely different, and they have been playing really well since then. Now, I think the thing for me, beating your Patriots today, beating the Raiders last week, not the most impressive wins, but going into Los Angeles and kind of stymieing a Matt Stafford-led passing attack and holding them, I think it was just a 15 points. I think it was 23-15.
Yeah.
Go back and check the score. Was impressive as well and that's where I think what's really been has been beneficial to them is their improvement on the defensive side of the ball. You're watching the Patriots game today. What did you think of this Miami football team, and what do you think they have to do to go into Green Bay to pull out victorious?
Yeah, well, the one thing that they did really well was get after the passer, and they totally made Drake May uncomfortable and not right in the pocket. And I think if they can get after Jordan Love the same way that they got after Drake May, which will be harder, this Packers offensive line is much better than the Patriots. I think that gives them a lot of good success. The one thing that they did really well too was they mixed up their blitzes. They kind of gave Drake May different looks and confused the young quarterback, and they did a really good job there. On the back end, again, not saying much, but the corners were very sticky in man coverage, and it was hard for the Patriots receivers to get open, really, except for Demario Douglas. And if it wasn't for a 38-yard bomb for a touchdown at the end of the game, they really would have gone the whole game without giving up any explosive plays. So,
so wild play, no less.
Yeah, and it was a cool play, but it's like that's like making a half-court shot after you've missed like 15 layups. Yeah. Like
you as a Patriots fan, you're like, can we save that for like a different game?
A game that actually matters at this point. Yeah. And so, and then offensively, like they did a really good job of utilizing motion to confuse the Patriots defense. Patriots had no answers all day. And I think you go look at kind of what they can do. If they can bring some of this speed element up to Green Bay, I think they could give them some really, really big fits. And Tyreek Hill he had one catch for 10 yards today against the Patriots. And some of that I give credit to Christian Gonzalez. Some of that is they just didn't need him with Jonnu Smith and Jalen Waddle going off. So they have a lot of different ways that they can beat you, this Miami offense. And it's going to be very interesting to kind of see what they're able to do going forward, because so far the narrative has been that this Miami team cannot win games late in the season. They also cannot win games in cold weather. And I don't necessarily think that has truly changed, but I think that this could be a shift in that narrative where I think this could be a really competitive game for the Miami Dolphins in a cold weather, late November game.
Well, and the weather as of right now, Thursday night, is supposed to be low of 24 degrees. But I think that might be maybe from the morning before. So it looks like it's going to be around 30, maybe a little bit less, 29 come kickoff time. And also, too, Hill did have a little bit better game, still not a great game. He had 5 catches for 48 yards. Maybe it was like a late, fourth quarter game that I missed. We're just looking at the ESPN stats here.
Against the Patriots?
Yeah, against the Patriots today. It might have been some garbage time stuff. or whatnot. But that's so besides the point, though. You're
Oh,
right.
I was looking at his numbers when Christian Gonzalez was in coverage. My apologies.
Oh, okay. Oh, when
Yeah,
Gonzalez was in coverage,
yeah,
it
yeah.
was 1 for 10, and so. But also, I think that kind of proves your point, though, is and what Green Bay's going to have to worry about is now with the addition of Jonnu Smith, who has had great several games in a row now, especially since Tua has come back. But so obviously, you got to worry about Tyreek Hill because he can score a touchdown on essentially any play. Jalen Waddle's benefited from that today as well. Then you have the Jonnu Smith. Then you have Devon A-Chain as well with all the speed that he has. It's a lot of guys for that Green Bay Packers defense to have to worry about. And they're a little banged up in the secondary as well. So they're going to have to be really on top of things and sharp today. They were the benefactors of playing San Francisco 49ers team that were extremely banged up. That being said, though, still an impressive, just extremely dominant win. Ran all over them. And that, I think, is going to be the big matchup to me, is going to be how this Green Bay Packers running game, and it kind of goes into what you were talking about with the defensive line just in general, but how the Packers running game does against the Miami Dolphins defense as a whole. As of right now, the Packers are the third best rushing offense when it comes to yards per game, and Miami Dolphins is ninth in rushing yards allowed. But if you go and look at it, they haven't given up 100 yards since they played Indianapolis in Week 7 when it comes to rushing yards allowed. So I think it's going to be a big matchup overall. Josh Jacobs is going to have to play well. Offensive line is going to have to play well. Calais Campbell for Miami is just an absolute beast of a human being. I noticed I was able to benefit from that last year when he was on my team. I don't like that he's not on our team now because you're seeing how dominant he is as a whole. But that to me is going to be the X factor in this game, because if this Packers offensive line can open up running lanes, if they're able to protect Jordan Love, it's going to create some it's going to create opportunities in both the passing and rushing attack for Green Bay. And we know how explosive and effective they can be in facilitating the ball around. But if there's a lot of pressure coming on Jordan Love, he's going to have to make these quick decisions. They're not going to be able to move the ball and go pretty one-dimensional. Maybe have to bring a guy in to help block. That was one of the things I noticed today with your Patriots is they're having to bring in 7 guys to block 4. So now you got 3 guys downfield.
Well, and then they still couldn't do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, no, and they still couldn't do it. So Green Bay is going to have a good offensive line performance. And on the flip side, too, though,
some of that I want to chalk up to New England's just
they're poor.
Totally inept talent. Like,
I agree with that. But it's still something I think to monitor and something that they've been showing over the past couple of weeks. But on the flip side, though, Green Bay, if they're able to get after Tua, if they're able to then stay in their lanes and contain these speedsters, it will be very interesting how Miami tries to move the ball down the field, especially too, as you mentioned, on a colder night. And so it's going to be an absolutely fascinating game here. I think the biggest X factor for me overall is going to be the Green Bay offensive line. Miami's offensive line isn't great. They've been playing a little bit better. That's not saying much, though, because it was the lowest of bars earlier on in the season, but they're playing a little bit better. But if the Green Bay offensive line can take care of business, I think Green Bay is going to win this game. It's not going to be it's not going to be handed to them, but that's why I'm still going to pick Green Bay, because I think just over 60 minutes, I think Miami's been playing well enough. I think they're just going to fall a little bit short.
Yeah, and that I don't want to diminish anything that the Dolphins have done, but like I think you look, they're on a 3-game win streak. They played a Rams team who Mike McDaniel is a Sean McVay protege. That game, they going back and watching some of the highlights, the Dolphins knew defensively a lot of what the Rams were going to do, and they probably had the best scout team reps that they have had all year in that game. And I don't want to diminish that, because they still went out and executed on prime time against a top offense in the league. But that is like they kind of had the answers to the test in that game. And then they whipped the Raiders and they whipped the Patriots, who are probably two of the 3 worst teams in the NFL. And I think this is just a slightly different caliber of team. I think it's going to be close. I think it's going to be a very good game. I do just think the Packers edge this one out.
Yeah.
And I think it'll be high scoring. So I'm gonna say 31-28 will be the final score. Packers kick a last second field goal to win it.
I see it being high scoring. It kind of goes back though, I will say, to what Green Bay needs to look out for. And so I agree with you a little bit about Mike McDaniel, like they know the system or whatnot. But I think the big thing though that Miami did well against the Rams and what they've been doing well, and what they'll continue to do well, is their interior pass rush pressure. I mean, as I said, when you have Calais Campbell there, and so Green Bay is going to have to make sure that they're going to. I know Jordan Morgan, he is on IR now, but making sure that interior and just the offensive line as a whole plays well. And so I agree with you, though. It's a different caliber of competition, though, based on what they've played in the past couple of weeks.
Yeah, for sure. And like all three of the teams that they've beat are below 500. We're current Sunday Night Football's on, but it looks like the Rams are going to go to 5-6, and like Patriots are 3-8 or 3-9. The Raiders are also 3-9. So going up against an 8-3 Green Bay Packers team coming off a pretty dominant win against the 49ers. Granted, the backups, the backup 49ers, but I think Packers come out ahead. We both agree on that. Let's go ahead. We'll wrap this one up here. If you guys have not already, please go ahead and like and subscribe. It is the best way to help out the channel. While you're down there, go ahead and leave a comment on who you think is going to come out ahead. Will it be the Miami Dolphins? Will it be the Green Bay Packers? Other than that, we'll see you guys next time.